much for his class and the character of who he is as a person and as a leader. He's a Harvard graduate and a cancer survivor. He's also known tremendous success on and off the field. So what he did to create the success with the Bills translates all the way through to his life and his business life. So we are so thrilled to have him with us today. So please help me welcome our last speaker of the day, the legendary Marv Levy.
Thank you all so much. I'm going to start out with a question. Where else would you rather be than right here, right now? Yes, that's what I said to our players before the kickoff of every game I ever coached. It came over me before the first one, and I just blurted it out. And so I'll say it again right now. There's no place else I'd rather be right now than right here, right now. And it's not only because it affords me an opportunity to return to Buffalo, which I so treasure. Out of a 47-year coaching career, 12 of them I spent here, the most memorable for me, certainly. But it's also because I know that sitting out here are motivated people, or you wouldn't be here. You have motivation, and I know that this is a Get Motivated seminar, and it reminds me of a question I've often been asked, and that is, how did you motivate those guys, your players, 275-pounders, etc.? How did you motivate them? You know something? The answer to that question is easy. Easy. We selected only intrinsically motivated players to be in our team. That didn't mean that they didn't need instruction or they didn't want to know the way, but they were hungering for it. You hear about coaches who give pep talks. That's a bunch of bunk. It's just a noise. And I'll elaborate on that in just a little while. So how do you motivate those guys? Well, first, let me talk about, certainly everybody is interested in succeeding, and when I asked the people that put together this seminar, what would be a topic you think might be worthwhile, they said, what's the game plan for success? Well, I have some good news for you all. What it takes to succeed is simple. It really is. But it isn't easy. I remember in mid-season of 1986, walking in to the Bills team meeting room, having been appointed in mid-season of that year to take over as head coach of the team. And what I said to the players, fellas, is what it takes is simple, but it isn't easy. Think about it. If you run, throw, block, tackle, catch, kick better than your opponent, you're going to win. The fundamentals, simple. Now, you don't just go out and do all those things better. You work at it. You have to work hard at it. Yeah, very much so. Now, I'm going to say something else that might surprise you a little bit about what it takes to succeed. What else it requires? Among other things, it requires good PR. Now, did you blink a little bit? Because if you think by PR, I mean public relations, well, then I'm not communicating real well. That's not what I mean by PR. By PR, I mean preparation, P and R, resilience. Preparation and resilience. Often, I've heard people from the media or others ask, does so-and-so have the will to win? Does that player have the will to win? Coach, do you have the will to win? And my answer to that is, do you have the will to prepare? Because regardless of what you say about having the will to win, if you don't have the will to prepare, you don't have the will to win. You just don't have it. It is something that takes time. You work at it. It's incremental. And sometimes it at times can become rather arduous. But that preparation, too, for what you're trying to accomplish, for what means a lot to you, should be fun. You know something? I remember telling our players upon occasion that fellas getting well paid and in the spotlight and everything, don't ever forget why you first played this game. Was a kid. It was fun. And don't ever let that go. Don't ever let that go. Okay, that's preparation. What about resilience? Everything isn't always going to work, no matter how well directed you are, no matter how well you plan, no matter how well you hope. It might not always work out right. I know that most of the people in the audience here are probably Buffalo Bills fans, and you know that we went through those 4 Super Bowls and had the devastating feeling of not winning any of them. So, okay, what do you know, 32 teams, talented teams, go to training camp every year, hoping to make the playoffs. 12 of them make it. The other 20 go home. Of those 12, 11 of them end their season with a loss. 11 of them. So what do? Do you lie there in the fetal position and whimper? Do you give up? Do you say, what's the use? Do you say, my work was in vain? Or do you regroup? Now, I don't mean you immediately come back. I don't mean you immediately do. We had a formula. There is a period where you mourn, where you feel awful. You worked so hard that didn't come through. But then you own up. What maybe should we have done differently? How could we have handled it differently? Then you recognize the good. Look at the people in this organization. Kelly, Reed, Thurman Thomas, Cornelius. I can go on and on. Steve Tasker. I can go on and on. Look at the people with whom I'm working. Bill Polian, John Butler. The members of my coaching staff. Okay, you recognize the good. Then, yes, you make a plan. You don't just lash out. And then you go to work on the plan. It's a brilliant idea. That's just a job half done. So that was our formula. And I can remember coming home on the plane after our first Super Bowl loss that felt so devastating. Came that far away from winning the game. I can remember a book of poetry my mother had given me when I left for the Army Air Corps 40-some years earlier, back in 1943. And she loved poetry. And I read this book while driving down there. I'd forgotten all about it. But all of a sudden, just in my mind, it came. 4 lines of poetry in that book. I didn't even look back at it. I hadn't thought about it. Fight on, my men, Sir Andrew said. A little I'm hurt, but not yet slain. I'll just lie down and bleed a while, and then I'll rise and fight again. And that's the way our team reacted. I remember after our second Super Bowl loss, getting a call on the call-in show that I appeared in on always early in the week, on the week after a game, from a man that said, Coach, please, don't go back to the Super Bowl next year. I can't, it agonizes me too much. If we don't win it, I can't go to work the next day. I don't go back. And I said to him, sir, I understand your anguish. I share it. But I have to tell you, I'm glad you're not on my team. I'm glad you're not on my team. So how you handle setbacks are very important. Well, I've talked about PR. What's the role of leadership in success? Well, leadership's important, but do we really understand what it is? Do we really understand what it is? Leadership is the ability to get other people to get the best out of themselves. But it's manifested not by getting them to follow you, but by getting them to join you, because they believe in you so strongly. They believe in what you're presenting to them. what you're teaching, what the value of what you're doing, not just for them, but maybe for lots of others as well, for the field in which you work, for everything. That's leadership. It's the ability to get other people to get the best out of themselves. And it's really what leads to teamwork. Leadership results in teamwork, not dictatorial. A good leader may be rigorous, but not ruthless. A good leader understands that he gets the right people there that he's working with. The right people he's working with. And by that I mean people who can add in some areas, who know more than he does about some aspect of what you're trying to accomplish together. That's what a good leader does. Bill Polian, our great general manager. Bill Polian, by the way, was not the best general manager in football. He was the best general manager ever in football. And because of it, as volatile as he was, think about it, it was always in defense of the people with whom he was working, that he believed in. He just wasn't a patsy, but I mean, he got the right people in place. Bill Polian once told me, it's amazing what you can accomplish if no one cares who gets the credit. And that's what we did. Those were our total organization mattered. I don't know if you know this. Total organization. I don't know how many people work for the Bills if you count everybody, security, the ladies that clean up at night, so on and so forth, the mail room, maybe about 200. Every one of the Super Bowl games we went to, Ralph Wilson, our team owner, took everybody. Room, board, tuition, books, and fees. Flew them down, hotel, tickets, the works. And that led to that feeling in the organization. Now, he required good performance from everybody, but he also understood, not dictatorial. Get the right people in place. We didn't have a lot of rules on our team. We did not have a lot of rules. In fact, we had only 2 rules. You know that? Be a good citizen, be on time. Everything else we tried to educate them to. Our players, we wanted them coat and tie on the road, but we educated to them. No contrived dances and stuff in the end zone. And they did it because they understood this is what reflected on their teammates. Now I say this with all, it's not just having the right vision if you're a leader. It's having the right people as well. That's what's going to help make that vision come through. Now, I'm talking about planning well and doing all that, and sometimes, no matter how well planned something is, sometimes, yes, you do something which, boy, we're taking a chance here. And sometimes the situation doesn't succeed. And once again, it might not always succeed. But what do you do again? Do you give up? You say, oh, heck. You place blame? That is the worst. You analyze why rather than place blame. There was very little blame placing in our organization. Very little when things didn't go right. It was a matter of how. You can't imagine how our players, when Scott Norwood's field goal went wide right, how they came to him. Darryl Talley and Nate Odom sitting in the locker room, remember walking up and said, Scott, if we would have made that tackle on 3rd and 14, they never would have got the go-ahead touchdown. Andre, if I would have hung out of that pass on the 15-yard line, we would have got a touchdown instead of a field goal. One after another, after another, after another. And what people forget is, to get to the Super Bowl that year, Scott had to kick 2 game-winning field goals. To get there the next year, he had to kick 3 game-winning field goals. He received the help of our player. Yes, you got to take some chances now and then. Yeah, one of the things I loved about coaching is during the course of that game, I had to make about 200 decisions. And maybe I had 15, 20, 30 seconds to make them. They weren't always right. What makes a decision right or wrong usually is what happens after you make it. But then you have to find a way. You can't always, quote, play it safe. It doesn't mean you should be foolish, but you can't always play it safe. Hey, if Michelangelo had wanted to play it safe, he would have painted the floor of the Sistine Chapel, not the ceiling. So you do take some chances now and then. And then what else I would like to convey, and I feel is important, and I think I alluded to it earlier but didn't expand, is that what you're doing, what you're undertaking, even though you revel in personal achievement, which is very important, is it something of merit? Is it worthwhile? Are you doing well, yes, for the success of, quote, your organization or your business or what it might be? That's very important, of course. But are you also doing things which are to the benefit of those people who are working so hard to try and help you achieve, to try and help you with high achievement? Are you concerned with them as well? The Buffalo Bills, that was a tremendous work ethic that prevailed during that time. And again, I'll talk about Bill Polian and Ralph Wilson being the driving forces, and John Butler in things of that nature. Things of that nature. Also, what about doing things right? What about doing things right for your customers, for your fans? What about doing that as well, making it worthwhile? What about honesty? What about bringing dignity to what you are doing and to how you're perceived, but perceived for good reason? And that brings me to something that almost revolted me, the bounty scandal. My stomach was turned when I heard about it. How can you mar the honesty of the game by trying to injure, cripple a player on the other team? And some of you may know that since retiring, I've written some books. One was a novel, Between the Lines. It was published last October. I had no idea of the bounty scandal. And the underlying theme of it was about, because guys would joke about it, the coach who cheats to get his team to win the Super Bowl game. Well, all of it, and included, was, because you'd hear coaches say, hey, what if they're paying a bounty on our guys? No one ever thought it really happened. One of it was bounty. Well, after it came out, I've since been writing another book, and I'm not promoting the book, but I wanted, because it relays so much to the bounty issue. A poem, writing a book of poetry. I'm going to read the poem I wrote the day after I heard about all of this. It's called Honor the Game, and it goes. As we walk up the tunnel, we hear all the noise, our hearts beat faster, and we feel all the joys in knowing that the game is about to begin. We're prepared. We're ready. We want to win. So do those fellows on the bench over there, against whom we'll compete. But let it be fair. Let's hope both teams give an effort to admire and play by the rules as we grunt and perspire. Let us all be aware that it is truly a game. May both winner and loser know no shame. May we play every moment with honest zeal, and for our opponent have respect that's real. When it's all over and the score is posted, let no one ever say that the winner is boasted. Celebrate and mourn for just a short while, then go back to work. Make that your style. Play hard, play clean, and play to win. But win or lose, dig right back in. Honor the game, and if that's what you choose, no matter the score, you'll never lose. So that's the one that I wrote on that. I do remember we tried to teach that to our players. One of our watchwords, don't be dumb and don't be dirty. I have great admiration for Miami's John Shula, winningest coach of all time. Teams always least penalized. That was smart, and that helped them to win. Don't be dumb and don't be dirty. But finally, again, folks, have fun in what you do. As well as there are other things that are important, have fun. Yes, as a coach for 7 months out of the year, we'd work 17 hours. We'd be down at the stadium 17 hours a day, 7 days a week, but I never worked a day in my life. I never worked a day in my life. And I may quote a great artist from the past, Pablo Picasso, who said, "It is your work in life that is the ultimate seduction." That makes a lot of sense. Well, I can recall the last day at work with the Buffalo Bills. I knew I was going to announce my retirement, and just before I did, I wanted to meet with those players whom I so revered. And when we finally, at the end of the meeting, I provided for them a wish list, and I will conclude my remarks here now by adapting for all of those of you here today who have come that wish list for you. I wish for you all an idealism that lasts a lifetime, because the day that you become a cynic is the day you're going to lose your youth. I wish for you difficulties, but not an inordinate number. I wish for you the capacity to laugh often, frequently at yourself. I wish for you friends who have earned your trust, and a trustworthiness that earns you friends. I wish for you just the right amount of impatience. I wish for you the opportunity upon occasion to be a 7-point underdog. I wish for you tolerance, given and received. I wish for you being able to say often with a touch of wonderment in your voice, "Where else would I rather be than right here, right now?" And finally, I wish for you certain mechanical skills. I'll call them mechanical skills. The kind that will allow you to rebuild broken dreams, and that will allow you to say, the best is yet to come. Thank you all for being here.